49
Good day, everybody. All right, so based on last week's video of frustration triggers, I wanted to kind of touch on storytime part 3 with one of I would say one of the biggest frustration triggers, and that to me it's racism. Um, they always say that if or some excuses I've always heard is, oh, they grew up around racist parents or whatnot. To me, I don't really see this because I'm not really a racist person, and of course, my mom being in prison, I never seen racism on that side, but with my dad being a cop, one of the biggest things with the all black neighborhood that was whatnot. It was called Black Bottoms. To me that's racially biased wording, but when I went to school, it was interracial school. You know, I got picked on and bullied by the rich white kids. So for me, when I seen hate and being bullied, I associated with everybody because I was picked on by rich white kids. I never was picked on by because of race or whatnot. I was just picked on, period. So I never seen that. But, when it comes to families and all that, like, you still have a choice. Your parents can, be racist, but that doesn't mean you have to be or whatnot. So you have the choice. But, in elementary school and middle school, some of my closest friends were black. So I never saw it until, when I was older and, looking back. And then it's like, man. But that's just because I didn't have to go through it. I know it's not the same for every person, and I know there's certain cities and certain places where, it happens. But for me, I never really truly saw it until I got older and I started seeing other people being racist. And then it's like, oh. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I see isn't, necessarily that. But with my stories, it's kind of things that I've seen. It's like one of the last things that, came out of my dad's mouth before I cut him off was he called a Muslim person a terrorist for having road rage, for having a frustration trigger. Someone beeping a horn doesn't make him a terrorist. And for me, that's like, I looked at that like, and he didn't just tell the story once. I heard the story 3 times. And it's kind of like, the first time wasn't cool. Neither were the other 2. But he thought it was. So, for me, that was a big no-no. You can't be toxic, But at the end of the day, I can't call him racist. Why? Because that's me taking negativity and adding to a negative situation. What is that going to do? Absolutely nothing. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to call who's racist or not because I can't judge others. That's not my job. That's his job, not mine. So at the end of the day, I don't want to put the negativity into that air. So, one of my biggest things about, today's story isn't, has nothing to do with my dad, has nothing to do with me. Well, it has a little bit to do with me. But, the big story I have was on Halloween. I was working for my previous employer, and we were on the way to lunch one day. Same thing, a road rage incident. The person was driving along with their blinker on. He slowed down in the car, and my boss slowed down. The guy decided, okay, he's slowing down, so he speeds up. Boss, same thing. Oh, he's slowing down, so I'm going to speed up. And then he goes back, and it was kind of like a back and forth thing. He looks over and goes, that's why he's just an N-word. Except he said it. I'm not going to say it because yeah, I don't do the negativity. So at the end of the day, you know, I didn't say nothing because it's. And then, you know, he continued, and you know, I've heard the N-word come out of his mouth several times, probably at least 10. Um, and then we continued, whatnot, and then, you know, the next day he kept using racially biased wording. And I went on to, he went to say something, and he was like, why are you kind of fighting this? And I'm like, well, I'm tired of you using racially biased wording. And he just popped the little vessel. I hit a trigger. Go figure, right? Come to find, you know, he likes to sip a beer or two while at work. But hey, again, I'm not judging. So you know, you have that, and then he leaves, goes to Lowe's or something. You know, all huffing, puffing. He comes back, doesn't say a word to me, and then the next day we go to lunch. He's sitting here telling us about how he got a review on, because we were doing a job or whatnot. And it was kind of one of those things like, they were a little slow to finish, but did awesome work, would recommend again, blah, 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 blah. He's like, I don't see what the problem was. And I was like, well, maybe the word slow. And it wasn't even a half a second later. Well, at least they didn't call me a racist. I just bit my tongue, because in my eyes, I didn't call him racist. I said he's using racially biased wording. But hey, what you hear is on you. So I didn't say nothing. I just let it be. We finished lunch. And then later, you know, we went to dinner, and he started drinking, and, you know, I was like, you know, I didn't really enjoy using the N-word. I don't like hearing the racially biased wording. He's, well, I'm not racist, and to prove it, I'm gonna go buy these gay guys some drinks. And I'm like, and mind you, this is Halloween, and we're at Hooters. 6 straight guys dressed up as gay guys, and he went and buys them. He goes and buys them a drink, so he's not racist. Yeah, right. Okay, so that's that. Well, at the end of the day, I can't label him because, like I said, I'm not going to be the one to judge. But that's where some people's mindset is. I don't get it. You know, it's one of those, you can't do so much and nothing happen, right? But, you know, being in the South, you know, I have had friends that have used words wrongfully. And I've had friends that have used it right. You know, you can't go this back and forth on it, because at the end of the day, negativity plus negativity isn't going to make anything positive. You know, all you can do is just choose to react different. I know what I've experienced, and some of the best people I've met have turned out to be not white. You know, it's like an old business partner of mine. He kind of explained it. You know, it's kind of like European girls tend to look for guys, and this isn't just European. This is Latin. This is everywhere, but most Americans. They tend to look for people, you know, like the opposite sex, for who they are. And not what they can do, and not what they look like. You know, and that's why you see in Europe and whatnot, you see some of the ugliest guys with some of the beautifulest women. And I'm not even talking about the rich, ugly guys. But when you get to America, you tend to have all these bad relationships, because they pick people based on looks and not who they are. So for me, and this is even every American girl that I've talked to has used me, right? And it's like the two great relationships I had were, one was from South Africa, and she was also white, but it's a British colony. Same thing as America, right? But you know, she was far from racist because at the end of the day, it's against the law there. Like, it's not even like if you're caught being uh, judgmental to the opposite sex or to a specific race, like it's bad. And then of course, uh, my last girlfriend, her being Brazilian. You tend to have the people that look for the better in you. What she saw in me was I was helping people. And then it was kind of like I stopped helping people and I just wanted to help myself. But I had to be selfish because sometimes you can't help other people until you help yourself. That was one thing when I got my EMTs. That was one of the biggest things they taught you is you always make sure you are good first. Because if you can't help you, you can't help them. And one of the questions we were asked in class was, if your house is on fire and you're upstairs or whatnot, and you have 2 or 3 kids, your spouse is laying on the ground and their leg is pinned, what do you do? Most people said, hey, I'm going to go get my kids and take them outside and then try to come back and get my husband. Y'all all died because the moment that you went from one room to another, then to another, you lost a lot of oxygen. And by the time you get to the next child, you ended up passing out before you got outside. Y'all all died. The correct answer isn't worry about the kids first, because that's their first thought. The first thing you have to worry about is your spouse. Because if you help them get that thing off their leg, you go get one child, they go get the other. Y'all save a lot more oxygen and energy because y'all went 2 different directions. It was something really, you know what I'm saying? And it's also one of those things that another scenario that we were asked, it was you get outside first, get fresh air, and then you go back. A lot of them didn't want to do that because they wanted their kids first. Sometimes you have to help yourself before you can help others. And so a lot of people, that's really hard, especially in the mental health. Too many people want to help other people first, and then they end up dragging themselves down in the process. So sometimes you have to worry about you first. And I get that. She has to worry about her right now. I can't, be mad because she wants to worry about her and get her mental health correct. But at the same time, I wish I could help her too. But, I'm still working on me. She's working on her, and hopefully, one day we can meet again. But for the big thing is mental health is a big thing for everybody. I wish, schools taught it better, or, there was, better things to help people with mental health issues. There's so many problems with how America is ran right now. We can't fix everything, but at the same time, you really can. It starts fixing yourself, because the moment that you stop being negative and try to be positive, and you try to do certain things, you're making life better for everybody. Because if you're getting rid of your frustration triggers, you're starting to love yourself for who you are and not wanting to change you because of how other people view you. Now, I can understand if you're overweight and you want to lose the weight, because at the end of the day, yeah, you're changing what people view you as, but at the same time, you make yourself healthy so you can be better. Because a happy, healthy you that's put in the work, you're going to love yourself a lot more than where you were before you did all this. So sometimes you really do have to put in the work for yourself. It's kind of like a car. The more time you put into a car or any kind of art, the more that art's going to be beautiful. So the more work you put into yourself, you're going to be more beautiful. And you don't have to buy surgeries or this, that, and the other. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of work. Now, I do know people that have had to do, let's say, the gastric, surgeries or whatnot. But to me, that's a quicker fix than, per se, just doing intermittent fasting or just changing what you eat. Because there's the healthy way and then there's the quick way. But, I can't hate anybody for going a certain route because that's what they chose. That's their, what they want to do, and I can't judge them for it. But, how you look at others and how you treat others, because back to those road rage, instead of calling someone a racialist biased wording, you can just go, wow, they're being an idiot, or wow, they can't just do this. Like, you don't have to add in a color, a race, a sex. You don't have to add in any of that. You're choosing to do that. That is your choice. You made a negative situation more negative. I'm not that person. I would rather just say, hey, that person did this. Not that black person did this to that white person. Because at the end of the day, you're adding the drama. You're adding the negativity. Instead of just saying that person did this to this person. Why add in all the extra stuff? Why? Because that's what schools teach us. That's what police officers want. That's what the government does. At the end of the day, when you add in all this, you're doing what they want. What happens when a police officer, well, what did they look like? What color were they? What this? They're asking you these questions. So then you answer these questions to other people, and you add in those little things. That's not needed. I mean, yeah, maybe for, answering a police officer's question like this, that, and the other, but the media doesn't need to do it. There shouldn't be black man shoots white person. It should be so-and-so, as in their name, shoots so-and-so. Leave it at that. If you want people to know what they look like, show their picture. You don't have to add to it. Schools do the same thing when you're teaching it. What is this? It's a block. No, you gotta say it's a blue block with orange border, and it's square. So then when they get older, it was a black person with blue eyes. Okay, I don't know about that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it all starts from somewhere. But it can end with you. You don't have to continue it. It's all in your head. If you don't continue it, guess what? It stops. One of the biggest things while, playing the game and meeting a lot of the Brazilians was, in Brazil, if you call a black person black, that is racist. Mind blown, right? They don't do color because that's not how you classify something. Now, I will say, based on translations, the word homie is the N-word. Yeah, that was a mind blown for me. Because someone said, hey, and it was like, whatever the homie word is, and I clicked translate. And it was like, hey, N-word. I was like, oh, whoa, what happened? And I asked her, I was like, what is this? And she's like, that means friend. Do what? So, mind blown. So, every country is different. Every culture is different. maybe we should look at other countries. Maybe we should just not choose how we define people. How about we just say, hey, that person, as in their name, or hey, you don't have to add in all this negativity. Now, I do understand, the whole, a black person being called boy or, whatnot, but, it's just one of those triggers. Which I understand why, because I've read the history, I know why, but if you let something affect you, that's your trigger. That's you not stopping it. Meaning, you're letting it control you. If you stop letting things control you and just let it go, we'll be a lot of us will be a lot more happy. And I'm not saying, us as in white people. I'm just saying people in general. If you stop letting these triggers affect you, meaning, it's just, if you only worry about you, meaning you only care about what is affecting you on an actual thing, meaning you avoid the obstacles, the triggers and all that, and you just focus on your goals and getting to where you want to be, a lot of these words mean nothing. But, it takes a lot of willpower and a lot to hear this stuff and not react. Now, if someone's being racist, you can tell them in a nice way, meaning, I don't like your racially biased wording. To me, that's a nice way. I didn't call him a racist. I didn't say stop being racist. I said I don't like your racially biased wording. And to him, he didn't like that because if the shoe fits. But that's enough for today's story time. Same time next week. As we'll say, same back time, same back channel. So I love everybody, and if you like the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, click it too. Everybody stay beautiful. Love everybody, and do everything you can to be a happy, healthy you. That's all I want. I want to see everybody be great. I want to see everybody be beautiful. And I want to see everybody do great things. Everybody that can't fix themselves, eventually they're just going to weed themselves out and they're not going to have friends. And they're either going to choose to correct their evil ways and be a better person, or they're just not. You can't help those who don't want to be helped. And you can't make things better that are out of your control. So only worry about you and only worry about being beautiful. Don't worry about everybody else. And if you have to, cut people off. You'll feel better later. I promise. Have a great day.